Sinha has been much sought after security professional in the banking sector for much of his professional life. His thorough understanding of fintech and legal aspect of the business has enabled him to innovate and disrupt with ease. He brings his extensive experience from his time at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Bank of America, and MasterCard. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Satur.
Hello, Bali. How are you guys? All right. Blockchain, roadblocks. We have been listening all day how blockchain is growing and what is stopping. We hear all the time regulatory bodies, government. That's what I'm going to talk about. That's what we do. We work with government. We build solutions for government blockchain solutions. So that's what we have, OiX Government Blockchain Cloud. That's what we do. Now, talking about blockchain and government. The idea is kind of colliding, going in reverse direction. When we talk about blockchain, we're talking about decentralization. Most of the solution we hear is talking about how to decentralize the solution. And government is all about centralization. Everything goes to center. Government wants to control. Blockchain wants to decontrol. How do we marry them together? We see all the time different parts of the world. We have seen the graph from different presenters. When the numbers have been changing in different parts of the world, some government is adopting, is open to the idea, some of them are not. Still, there's a big gap why government should go for it and why they should not. So, when government can use the blockchain? Why they should go for it? Why only these payment gateways or e-commerce or even in banking? That's what we have heard, like e-banker and so much different solutions who have been trying to get into an alternative solution. Why not government? What is stopping for government? What is the best use cases? Last presenter was talking about pick the right use cases. So what are the right use cases for government? What they should go for? So for government to choose a blockchain, the questions they have is the parties they have, the citizen services, different departments they have. Do they need to share the data? And share the data with who? And do the party upload data? For example, if there's some KYC solution where they need to upload their IDs or any benefits where they need to share the data, all those different use cases needs to be considered. Why the government should choose for that? Is any verification required in the process? If you're distributing certain benefits or validating who you are, like KYC, that's a standard term. Those things needs to be accommodated, and if the government solution needs any of those or multiple of them, they can consider blockchain. Now, where can government use blockchain? Where it's easy, low-hanging fruits for government to go make an implementation of blockchain? Well, easy ones are like election. People vote, most of them in democratic countries, people vote. Government can choose to do the voting using the blockchain services, where the services can be validated, who voted and for who. The corruption in election can be removed. Licensing and IDs, licensing driver license or government IDs, citizen IDs, those are the different departments where the government can use the blockchain. Titles management. Let's say, do we know that 30% of the land records are missing? People don't know who owns the land. The data is either lost or not known. Talking about that, government can use that into land registry, the title management of the land, or there are different other title management can be done as well using blockchain. Benefits distribution, most of the government, different part of the world run different subsidy programs. They have some health programs which benefit people who are underprivileged or make less money. There are several different government programs which have citizen benefit services that can extend the use of blockchain. And intra-government payment. Government makes a lot of payment within different departments or to their partners, their contractors. All those payment services can use blockchain services. Why government is not using blockchain? Why they are not up for it? What is stopping them? What is the limiting factor for them? Blockchain was not built for government. I just said it has been so long, it has been about decentralization, and government is built around the knowledge or the idea of centralization. So there's two opposing ideas that stop from government making a jump for it. Blockchain networks have a lot of a scalability problem. Like we hear that certain transaction takes much longer. All these mining solution we have where people mine Bitcoins, they require a lot of power and there's a lot of lag. There's a lot of wait period when you can really complete the transaction. When we're talking about that, let's say Indonesia government goes for a blockchain-based payment solution. Would you like to wait a couple of hours for that? Would you like your numbers to change? For example, you made a transaction for 1 million Indonesian rupiah, and while the transaction happens, takes time, the money is lost or added. When it's lost, you don't like that. When it is added, you like it. But essentially, in a government transaction, government cannot afford to do that. The government needs to give you, if they committed to give you 10 million rupiah, they need to give you 10 million rupiah. Not a single rupee less, not a single rupee more. So the scalability then and performance is an issue that's where the adoption is lacking. And when we talk about blockchain, Bitcoin, we hear that word smart contract. That a smart contract we have as of today in use is not optimized for government use. The complex need of government needs much more versatile a smart contract. In current state, that solution is not going to render or fit for government use. Now, today's government need on-demand growth. Now, there's a lot of different services government render, and there's always, in any kind of citizen services, there are certain times when there's a peak performance needed. For example, taxation. If people are doing taxation, certain countries have end of the year. For example, United States, where I come from, the taxation is done by December. What does that mean? That means that you have almost 500 million people jumping on a system to file the taxes. It means all the year long, there was no use of the system, and suddenly the peak is there for the uses. How do you handle that? How do you accommodate that? Those are the challenges that are needed. So on-demand growth. At times you have zero need, and suddenly the need jumps like this, or maybe like this. So, and additionally, like blockchain, we say, okay, we have a copy of data everywhere, a copy here, a copy there, but government cannot afford to do that. In certain cases, they want to share certain data, but they do not want to share the data. For example, let's say military uses. If there's a military contract, do they want to share all the data? No. They need to share selective data with legislators or other parties who are authorized to look at it. So they need a selective selection of a private network where they can take advantage of this technology and use that to their benefit. And of course, cost is always a consideration. In any part of the world, whether it's the United States or Indonesia or any other country, the government wants to reduce the cost. The cost is lower, it should be lower and lower. Not only that we need a blockchain, there's a mixture of new solution which marries with existing older solution. So integration needs to be in the place. How do you merge them together with a legacy monolithic government system and integrate them with the latest new technology? Government public sector, we have, what do they exactly need? They have already invested a lot of money into different applications. It's not that the government didn't exist. The government has been there since forever, and they have an existing working solution. What do they do with them? They just cannot jump on a new solution, anybody suggests, and then they start making use of that. That doesn't happen. So you need a solution which picks on what is already there, take advantage of that, and render a new solution. And of course, as we talked about, minimize the cost. And the investment has already been made. How do you take advantage of that and put another layered approach on top of that and take advantage of the money which is already put there and maximize the existing investments. Now, again, these are the needs. Now, what is the real requirement? What is the government really required to adopt such technology? Government wants to have security controls. There has to be fine-grained control. Now, for example, in movies you see top secret level and then different levels of security. Those things actually exist. And government needs to have a control system in place which part of blockchain data could be accessed by who. Compliance. We heard about compliance in first hour. Compliance is a big concern, whether we're talking about KYC, who, what, when. Who had access to what, when, who transacted, on whose behalf, where the money came from, where the money did go, if it was a rogue operator or the right operator. Most of the time, 90% of people are good, but those 10% of rogue operator create problem for other 90%. So those things needs to be tracked and taken control over. So there has to be compliance in place. Now, government oversight. Government always needs oversight. Who can approve what? So there has to be chain of authority of, okay, one person approved this and who approved when, things like those. All those things needs to be in place for government to adopt or take advantage of such technology. Public sector innovation. Now, OiX Public Sector Solutions, we have identity solution in place where we can render licensing services or attestation or credential services for government. We also have health record and financial payment systems. We can see next. Okay, let's talk more about government public sector. What is the current state of government public sector? Government public sector current state is they have a lot of physical documents. If you go to any government office, you might see a room or maybe so many rooms full of records having a lot of dust in them, And when you try to find a record, it adds a lot of delay because it's hard to find that document. It's difficult to trace those documents. And threat of fraud is there. As we know, in different parts of the world, the land is taken over by a different person, and the right person is missing or probably taken over the property. All those things, threat of fraud is there when the documents are physical. There's only one copy of the record. If there's a multiple copies of the record, it's difficult to make a change into a record if they're into 10 different places. They can be validated by a data set kept at 10 different places. Our solution helps government to automate their digitization process by adopting our technology and reducing the risk. We help modernize the technology and transform the citizen experience. When we talk about citizen experience, what do we mean by that? Let's say land registry. Land registry, almost whoever owns the land, they are part of doing the registration, pay the taxes, and then prove the ownership. That solution government can adapt, and we have a working solution for that. Registry built on blockchain and smart contract, government can adopt that. We need, or everybody needs, a single truth of document. Like who owns it? I own it, or you own it. I cannot go to your house and claim it's mine, right? So to be able to endorse who is the rightful owner of the property or certain asset, that can be done using blockchain. Government can easily adopt that. It's a low-hanging fruit. It ensures who owns and reduce the risk of fraud. Citizen benefits. So certain countries have health benefits or subsidy to farmers or business people or even loan. Government have loan programs for entrepreneurs. All those kind of implementation are easy to adopt using blockchain. Again, it reduces the time to market. How easily they can disperse the loan. How easily the health benefit can be distributed to the farthermost, not in town, in village, different part of the country. How to render that solution faster and easily. Government treasury. Government treasury handles a lot of money. A lot of money is being handled by government treasury. and there's a lot of foreign exchange. The money happens like government sends, for example, government is buying or selling oil, like Indonesia sells oil. The money gets transferred. All those large transactions, intra-government, within government, and outside government can be managed using blockchain. Those are the low-hanging fruits where it can be done. We also have government pay solution where the government can pay. For example, we talked about benefits management where the country or government can choose, elect to share the benefits with the citizens, and how to reach out to them using the payment services. Putting them all in the blockchain is a integrated solution. Our solution is simplified. It endorses, it uses KYC data, and it integrates with all the compliance concerns you may have. All the data integration gives you one click of compliance. So you can easily adapt and get the data. So the government entity comes to you and say, you're running the solution, and you want to have check what is going on, where our plus and minuses are. You can run the report and figure out where the compliance lapses are. Smart contract. As I mentioned in the beginning, smart contracts are not built for government as they are. They're not even built for a contract for example, even for corporate. If you're trying to do anything out of a standard, I don't know how many of you have dealt with the smart contracts in this existing stage. You will see a lot of limitation. You can't do much. There's only a set of certain functions you can use, and you cannot go beyond that. And that is the limitation you have. We have developed our own smart contract, which scales to billions of transactions. It's not limited because we build solution for citizen services, and our customers have been in different parts of the world, including the United States and India. And the government needs billions of people, like India has more than a billion people. We are building solutions for them. It means we need to cater to the need of billions of transactions. And as I mentioned, there's a rapid use of certain services, citizen services, where people jump. For example, taxation. End of the year, whenever the taxation time is that part of the world, the government will jump onto the service. How do you render that? How to render that fastly and correctly, where people are not waiting in the queue a day or two to get their answer what is going on. Of government cloud, that's how we have built it. It's a little complex, nothing to explain here. If not, I'll say thank you. Thank you.